women, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Come on, y'all. Hey y'all, I see two of y'all out there. How you doing? Long time no see. Gotta check my sound. Give me 1 minute, y'all. Hey everybody. I'm trying to check the sound. Hey everybody. Okay. All right, I can turn it off now. I needed to hear it to see how I hear. See how I sound to y'all. Sorry, not how I hear. Okay. All right, y'all. So let me start slow as people trickle in, okay? So I'm changing, right? The way I think is changing. What the things I'm going to be talking about will be changing. Hold on. And I want to talk about things that really that are affecting Black women and the things we need to do to address them so we survive America. All right, y'all. So today is going to be kind of really educational. All right. I'm going to start by telling y'all that the reason I'm doing this live today, because I actually had something else scheduled for you guys, but I kept hearing like the worry and I'm not going to say desperation, but a little bit of anguish in Black women, right? Throughout TikTok. Because I've been spending a lot of time over there, but I am returning to YouTube this month. I'm already here. I'm just going to start beefing it up as time goes on. But what's happening is this, okay? The conscious Black women are realizing that, and they're doing lives on the very thing I'm going to bring to you today. It is an awareness of the time we're living in and the very moment that is addressing us. The fact that you have over 370 now 1,000 Black women who have been fired for no fucking reason outside of them just being Black. And that the government of this country wants to revert back to a time where they are in control of everything, everyone, and no one has the ability to exercise any individual thought, individual behavior, where they can enfranchise themselves, branch out, become great, They want control over all of that. And quite simply, this really just comes down to the age-old problem that has been an issue with Europeans since the beginning of time, of the fact that their biggest problem is superiority. They believe in and want to always maintain one group should be superior over all other people. And even though it's really simplistic, right? What I just said, it seems like that's the hardest thing in the world for everybody in the world to just freaking grasp, understand, and push back against it. That's the reason why we're seeing parts of slavery, literally historical slavery, being reenacted today, because people refuse to let go of white supremacy. They refuse to recognize racism as a mental illness that literally deserves to be classified in the DSM. Black women refuse to acknowledge that Black males are on board with white men to the point where they actually believe that the patriarchy and the white men that control this country will share power with them. We right now as Black women are literally going through a period of the most detached, delusional period from reality that I've ever seen in my life, of everybody living in the country. All right. It makes no sense. So today I'm going to show you, right, that what I'm saying to you is just not something I'm coming up with off of the top of my head. This is historical. And the way you beat things that are going against you in the present is to use history to rewrite the course of things that you know are to come. Okay? So this whole white supremacy thing in the New Age world started with the first queen. And I'm quite sure a lot of you guys have never heard of this woman, but she has a couple of names. They refer to her as Empress Maud and Queen Matilda of England. Now, for those of y'all that are into your history the way I am, she is, let me just make my notes and make sure I'm correct in what I say, right? Now, this woman is the daughter of King Henry I. All right? What I want to do right now before we get into the whole live, so other people still have time to come in, is I want to show, and you know I got to break it up, so I got to talk in between, right? I want to show you a video that I found on YouTube that is a summary of this queen's reign. And I want you to understand that. And look these things up after you watch this live, because you need to be informed about what America is trying to do and how you can stop it. All right? So in Europe a long time ago, before the French Revolution, because what we're literally experiencing now in America is literally like some of the things that happened during the French Revolution. I know all you guys saw that dude, that white boy, get killed the other day, the Charlie Kirk dude. And prior to him being murdered, he was literally calling for public executions. That's a part of the past. All of the things that he was calling for in his so-called purification of America is actually nothing but overrated mental health issues that have not been diagnosed and will never be, because it directly affects the thinking of white people with their needs for superiority, right? Is what he was talking about and what has already happened in the past. So I want to begin with this lady and show you what I'm talking about, because the things that he was calling for happened in Europe. And we already know the cause and effect and the outcome. And I want to bring that to your attention today. And the very reason why I want to bring this to your attention, I'm going to cut to the chase before we go through the whole live, is because I need each and every one of you Black women and any other people who are out there tired of what is going on in America to understand you do not have to agree with a particular political party to stop the stuff that is happening in America. You have to understand how America works, and you have to utilize the way it works against itself to make things right. So what do I mean by that? In 26, we have a huge midterm election. I don't want no Black people talking to me about Don't vote. It's not important. Nothing's gonna come out of it. You don't voting is not beneficial. That's bullshit. Okay? I want you to understand, and I'm trying to do it by way of this live, that if you do not vote in this midterm election, you will lose every freedom and every right that you have in America, because white people are playing the long game of complete and ultimate control. And we're gonna get into understanding why that is. And we're gonna begin with this woman who started this whole thing with a process in Europe at one time called the Reign of Terror. Okay? All right, so let's start. I want to start with her video. And like I said, I'm gonna have to talk through it because on YouTube, you can't play a video completely all the way through without catching a violation of some kind, or them getting very upset about what you're doing because they just don't want you to do that, right? But I do give full credit to this creator. I'm acknowledging to exercise my right of what is that? What is that shit called? Fair speech? Whatever that is. Wait, it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Give me a minute till it comes back around. I want to take advantage of the full public right of fair use of media clips and the law that pertains to the use of fair use for media clips. So let's get into this, okay? This is Queen Matilda. This is a 9-minute video. We probably won't go into the whole 9 minutes, but I need to show you this.
The Queen without a crown.
In England's medieval history, there was a female figure of great importance whose legacy left an indelible mark on the country. Hailing from a noble and powerful lineage, this leader played a prominent role in the struggle for the throne and the stability of the kingdom. Her courage and determination challenged the social norms of the time and made her an influential figure in a male-dominated world. Although her claim to the throne was the subject of dispute and conflict, her legacy as a champion of justice and female empowerment has endured through the centuries, serving as a beacon for female leaders and an inspiration to those who defy established expectations. The Little Queen. Queen Matilda was born in Oxfordshire, England on February 7th, 1102. She was the daughter of Queen Matilda of Scotland and Henry I, King of England and Duke of Normandy. When Matilda was only 7 years old, her father received a letter from Henry V, King of the Holy Roman Germanic Empire, in which he expressed his desire to form a marriage alliance with the Anglo-Saxon royal family by obtaining the hand of the couple's daughter. In exchange for such an alliance, England would gain a valuable military ally against France, and Henry V would receive a dowry of 10,000 marks, necessary to finance his appointment as emperor. After celebrating her betrothal on April 10th, 1110, and being crowned 3 months later as Queen of Rome, Matilda was placed in the custody of Bruno, Archbishop of Trier, after the betrothal, who took charge of educating her in German manners, culture, language, and polity. And finally, in January 1114, she was married to Henry V.
I'm going to stop in here for 1 minute because the commercial came and it's like 2 minutes past. So this is the setup, right? Hey, man. So what I'm trying to show you guys is the fact that the thing that's going on in America right now is literally almost a part of white folks' DNA. They always fight. They always fight each other for control, power, and they always fight everybody else. I don't know what that shit is about, but it has been a part of world history since their existence. But this particular queen set the standards for all of the things that we see today in the way foreign countries come to other countries and destabilize them. She started this. with her reign, because basically she was trying to prove to the guys she could be just as cruel and just as powerful. The things that she set in motion led to the way many people were brutalized and used through servitude and the building of nations and etc. up until today, where now we have, when people of color and Black people and others go to different continents and they contribute diversity and brilliance and innovation and ingenuity, that genetic marker in them or whatever it is that makes them feel like somebody else is going to be better than them or overtake them, they always default back to, I have to overtake you, I have to be violent, and I got to stop you. And that is what's happening. And I'm going to show you all of this from this beginning up to real time, and then talk about how, as Black women, why we were targeted and how we have to begin to support each other and actually really start doing grassroots movements amongst ourselves to make sure we survive. If nobody else don't survive, we need to survive. Okay? So let me go back to this video a little bit more, because I want to get to the revolt part for y'all to see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm trying to show you guys how even when things are going okay, they will still find a reason to cause chaos, because they do not want equality. They do not want people to be able to have complete freedom, or what is the term? Ownership over their own ability to do whatever they want in life. They want to always be in the position.
The church and several nobles rebelled against him, leading to the arrest of his chancellor, Adalbert, several German princes, and Pope Paschal II's attempt to excommunicate him. After initiating both a military and political campaign to stay in power, Henry V advanced towards Rome in 1117 to resolve his conflicts with the Pope, who eventually fled the city. This situation led Henry V to appoint as Pope the Nuncio Maurice Bourdin, who assumed the name of Gregory VIII and designated the royal couple as the Emperor and Empress of the Holy Roman Germanic Empire. During her reign as Queen Empress, Matilda attended to requests from petitioners, took charge of the patronage of royal grants of titles and properties, and participated in ceremonial acts. The tragedy of the White Ship. While Henry V was hunting down Pope Paschal throughout the empire, two tragedies occurred in England. Matilda of Scotland, Matilda's mother, died of natural causes in 1118, and William Adelin, the younger brother and rightful heir to the English throne, drowned on November 24, 1119, after the White Ship in which he was preparing to travel sank as it left the port of Barfleur for unknown reasons. To this day, it is not known what the cause of the accident was. Some versions of the time suggest that the accident could have been caused by the collision of a submerged rock with the side of the ship. Another indicates that the accident may have been due to overloading, and even that it could have been a covert political assassination, as Ken Follett points out in his book The Pillars of the Earth. The truth is that there were only two survivors: Captain Thomas Fitz-Estienne, who ended his life when he learned that he had caused the death of the heir, and a butcher from Rouen, who was a member of the crew. This death provoked a conflict of succession, since King Henry I had no more legitimate male heirs who could be accepted as his heir by the nobility and the clergy.
All right, so we can stop this soon. I wanted to get to this point to show y'all how, in the beginning of this video, they showed you the marriage that was trying to bridge the gap between Scotland and England. Now, we know as time went on, without going through all of the history of Europe, England took over Scotland, Ireland, and everybody, all right, and developed different provinces like Wales and etc., where these people are the descendants of other people that were actually captives of these people. They didn't have to do this, though. That's the point I'm trying to show y'all. They didn't have to do any of this. They could have made amends. They could have found a way to find some type of way to use diplomacy to get whatever it was they needed, besides drowning all those people on those ships en route to battle. Okay? We don't really need to go much further. I just wanted to introduce you guys to this woman, because this woman, the things she did in her reign, and all of the people that came after her children she had, right? The people related to her, all of these people were individuals that just could not let peace be good enough. They needed to have war. They needed to go to somebody else and tell them, no, you're going to do what I tell you to do. And if I say religion is important, then you're going to think religion is important as well. And that's the whole point of what I'm trying to show y'all, which is what's happening today. So we can get rid of her, because I just wanted to show y'all where this shit completely kicked off. Because you got to remember, America, right, is full of European people from Europe that were the worst Europe had to offer. They were the people that Europe did not want. They were the people from the insane asylums, the prisons, the drunkards, the disease, the everything horrible. They were literally physically put on boats and told, get the hell out of our country. We don't care where you go, but you're not staying here. Okay? They sent, and I want y'all to be clear, they sent them to America, and they also sent them to Australia. Those were the two main places they sent them. All right? And you see what happened in both places when they got there. So you have to understand that, you see how weird people always talk about Black people and the epigenetics of trauma, and that being a part of you. I want you to understand that is the same for them. But their trauma does not come from anybody doing something to them. Their trauma and their issues come from, they just can't sit still in peace. They have to be in control of everything. They have to be telling people what they can and can't do. And they get upset when people push back and say, I don't agree with that, and I'm not going for that. Then it got to be a whole full-fledged scale war and all this other craziness that comes out of the delusions of grandeur and the creation of white supremacy and all this other stuff, right? To modern day, where you have a man that sat down with another group of people from the Heritage Foundation and came up with all types of indoctrination to make everybody but white people seem like they're not worth anything. And if they did not subscribe to what the white folks believed in, then they weren't any good. And this is where we at this point in time in America. And the way we get away from that is to understand how America works, and that you cannot give in to fear. That is the way they win each and every time. That is the reason why I am making this video for you today, to show you you cannot give in to fear. And do I understand that, yes, there will come a time where you won't be able to make these videos because your job will depend on it. Your livelihood will depend on it. It always comes to that point. But what do people do, and what have they always done when it came to those particular times? They went underground. They did things off the mainstream. They organized in their houses, in the back of businesses, in cars, in the back of restaurants, in gyms where nobody else was there but them. You get the point. They organize in secret, so that in the end, when it is time for something like in our situation right now today, when the midterm elections are coming in 2026, you understand that no one should be listening to anybody telling you that your vote doesn't count. Because the only way that you will be able to stop what is going on in America is to make sure you vote in the midterm elections and vote out all of these racist Republicans. And do not get sidetracked by people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who understands that the rating, the favorable rating of Republicans is slipping into the toilet. That's why all of a sudden she's making sporadic videos here and there about how much she likes people and black people ain't so bad no more. Don't fall for none of that. That is hoodwinking. And the fact that this administration has complete control over the media, you are not even being informed of what is really going on in our world today. So it's on you to, instead of going to TikTok or YouTube and having conversations about relationships, marriage, and how stupid black males are, because we know this to be true, you need to be Googling what is happening in other parts of the world. What just happened to the women over here? Or why didn't we hear about this over there? You need to start doing that on a regular basis, okay? And you need to also check into how the majority of the countries of the world are ostracizing America currently as we speak. That is very important, okay? Those are the things we as black women need to do, because you got to understand, the majority of black women are usually kept in the dark, and a lot of us do not seek out the information we should to be as informed as we can be as other people. And that's because we are looked at as the race of people who are supposed to be the stepping stools for everybody else, including black males. So if you want that to stop, you have got to get to the point where you understand that you only don't know things because you didn't seek it out. It's not because people are keeping it from you. You have to go the extra mile to make sure you know what is happening and why it is. And you should also remember, like I showed you in the beginning by showing you this woman who kicked off the template of how all these countries and all these dictators and colonizers move today to continue throughout history to obtain and grab and own shit that does not belong to them. If you decide on your own to go back to that video or another one and fully understand her whole story and all the things that came out of her story, I expect you to do that, to know exactly what is happening today. Because the things you don't know about history is the reason why we are literally repeating that stuff today. All right. So I want to show y'all something and then get into the thing. So now we're going to start talking about the thing with Charlie Kirk. And you have the background now, right, of why these people need to always mess with other people and find somebody to blame when those people were not involved. And we understand why that is, because they fundamentally, collectively believe, like in a super serious collective consciousness, that they need to be the people who are in control at all times, regardless of the fact that every human being born in this world has a God-given right or a nature-given right to exist without another person trying to be an authority over them, or a person who's lording over them or leering over them and telling them, you can't do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. You understand? So you have this background now. So now let's go into today. So the other day, and we don't know if this is really real, we just go by what they told us happened, but the way people behave is actually very goddamn real. Okay? Very goddamn real. So let's share this one first. Sorry, y'all. This keeps flipping. So literally, right? Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's flipping out. What I'm showing you, right? This is a brawl. Let me just get off it because it's not listening. It's not listening to me. That was a brawl. That was literally a brawl that happened after they had this rally. Y'all don't know about that rally where the white dudes was white men fight back thing, right? So shortly after that, what happens is that you have the way white people are in their nature, right? They all rallied up together and they swear to God, people are always victimizing them when they are actually the primary offenders. They all rallied up. But then you have other white people who actually don't think the way they do, because you know in life there's an exception to every rule. And even though things may be a part of you and you have been indoctrinated to believe it, there are always going to be people who are going to exercise independent thought and they're not going to follow the crowd. So at that rally where those white guys was white men fight back and all that, right? You had a few people interview them and you had white people say, well, what are you fighting back about? No one literally did anything to the group of white people on a whole. They did something to this one particular man who is actually very problematic. Now, this is what the other groups of white people were saying, which were the people you saw in that video getting stomped out and getting attacked. So all those people at that rally, they decided that the few white people that were telling them what you're doing is wrong here, they surrounded them and began to beat the hell out of them and stomp on them. That is what happened. As a result of that, I don't know if you guys know what followed up after that is that you had this coon black dude, right? After Kirk's wife did the interview and talked about how, now look how mad she is. I couldn't find the clip, but I would have showed it to you. She was saying how she's going to continue on her husband's legacy and all this madness. She was talking about white supremacy and purity and all this other stuff, which is code words for everything white is right and everything else needs to be disposed of. The same way that first queen that I told you about, Matilda, that's the way she thought and the way she ran her kingdom and dealt with all the constituents in her land. If they did not agree, they got the guillotine, or they got literally beheaded by the henchmen with the axe with their head just sitting on the podium, right? That went on for hundreds of years, all the way up to the French Revolution that I'm going to get into with y'all in a little while, about the significance of the need to instill fear, public execution, and making people think that they have no solution, no win to something that can easily be defeated. All right, so she went on to talk about how she's going to continue the racism of her husband's legacy. But there was a coon black dude that saw the interview and he had to go out of his way. If you look on TikTok, you'll find it. That was too insulting for me. I refused to show that in this video. He went out of his way as a black male with a little bit of money to not only pay for this dude's funeral and all that kind of stuff, but he went on to pay for that man's kids' colleges. Okay? Now, if you got money like that, you should not be wasting it on a white man that believed that your people should be annihilated off the face of the earth, and who literally had said that time and time again. So in this clip I'm about to show you is how when they have that background of feeling like they need to be the group that is so important and nobody else ever gets to trump them because of all the horrible things they've done in this world, they need to convince society that the things they're doing are right, and they need you to continue believing in the bullshit. And they need you to keep believing that you can't win no matter what happens, when that is an absolute lie. Absolute lie. But we got to hear him say it just to say
it. That if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for. I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for. I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us.
All right. You know why he's saying that, y'all? He needs to say that because in the beginning of every election, anytime anything goes bad in America, even though politicians, racist Republicans are the ones behind all this stuff, they always try to make a scapegoat of black people by talking about how high crime is and what black people are doing to destroy America, when that's not it at all. You're upset because a white person of your own kind realized that the things you are preaching, the things you're pushing, the things you are literally doing legally is destroying the country, and America will fall. It will fall. The economy will crash. The land will go into a form of anarchy never seen before, because the people today have fight in them. They're not just going to allow people to come do whatever they want, whether they win or die. Just the other day in California, and I didn't want to include this clip out of respect to the person that passed away. The way that they're rallying up Hispanic people in LA and different parts of America, because a couple of weeks ago, the Supreme Court ruled on the 14th Amendment that America can literally, legally, racially discriminate against Hispanic people just because this particular president wants to use them as an example of deporting immigrants. So they were in LA, they're doing a stop of a young Hispanic man, trying to detain him and all this kind of stuff. Things got out of hand. The guy tried to escape. He ended up dragging with the car, dragging the ICE guy or agent or whatever, dragging him with the car. Now, he wasn't underneath the car. He just got dragged because he wouldn't let go of the car, right? As a result of that, they shot that young boy to death. It's been on the news everywhere. But because the Supreme Court literally passed the law where that type of stuff is legal, these are the steps that they take. And those of you who are not familiar with Stacey Abrams, this is when you need to put all your prejudices to the side about black women, about how they look, what age they are, whether they fat, skinny, ugly, or beautiful. Put that to the side and start being a type of black woman that is about learning, growing, and getting the message about things that are impactful in our world. So Stacey Abrams did a month or two ago a whole campaign on social media about warning America about, she took it down to 10 stages of totalitarianism, however y'all say that word, totalitarianism. Y'all know how to say the shit, right? And nobody paid attention to her. But slowly but surely, each one of the steps that she outlined is coming true. And whenever you have an entire supposedly highest body court in the land that's supposed to uphold the Constitution, the rights of its citizens, both legal and whoever gets over here, right? That everybody's supposed to have due process, habeas corpus, right? When you have the Supreme Court say, no, we don't care for everybody else right now, but for these particular people, we're saying they're not entitled to all of that. And you can do what the fuck you want. That is not right. And it is a miscarriage of justice. And these are the things Stacey was warning us about. Okay? But what they need to rely on is you being complacent and being okay with that shit happening to other people. Now, by saying that, I am by no means telling you to get out on march, because that is not what I'm saying. I don't want no black women outside getting beaten in the head for nobody's cause but our own. Okay? I'm telling you, the way you fight back against this shit is that you take your goddamn civic duty as serious as life itself. because that is the only way at this point in time where this president has the Supreme Court on lock, the Senate on lock, the Congress on lock. And I'm going to show you an amendment that nobody talks about. I'm going to Google it in a minute because I realized I didn't do it before this live. I'm going to get this amendment. It's the 25th Amendment. Those of you that want to look it up beforehand, to show you how you can get rid of a president outside of the normal process of them trying to impeach him. There's so many ways to get rid of a president. But if you don't know it and people don't openly talk about it, people feel like there's nothing they can do. And so they go along and be complacent with the nonsense when you don't have to. And believe me, you don't have to be vocal the way I'm being right now. You could just take in all the information, plan your strategy, and then enact it. And by that, I mean, for all these Black women that live in all these states in America, Texas being the sole state in America that has the most Black people in the entire freaking country, you need to make sure every Black woman votes and votes against every racist Republican. Vote in a Democrat, whether you give a damn about being a Democrat labeled that way, part of the party, it doesn't matter. Vote for the enemy of your enemy or a friend of your friend, however that shit goes. You need to get them in there so that the power balance begins to come off of these people who have a super majority to literally do whatever they want, whenever they want in this country. The only way you stop it is by two ways. And I know that the majority of America are not built like that. You're either going to have a real new civil war, or people are going to organize and get their mental together and get their ass to those polls and get these racist white folks out of office. That is the simplest way to do it. You have all kinds of elections before the midterms come. People need to understand that you don't need to be listening to Dr. Umar, any Black men from FBA or anybody, even Black women, that because there's a ton of Black women on TikTok foolishly telling Black women not to vote. And I'm not saying when, let me take that out of the atmosphere. But if ever Black people were to sit still and let white people completely take over this entire country, what do you really fucking think they would do? You already heard them say that the reason they were calling Black jobs and saying that Hispanic people were taking Black jobs because they thought Black people was going to go work back in the fields. Their mindset is always to be a master of Black people. So if you sit down and you allow these people to literally become the only say, the only law, the only legislation in America, what do you think these people are going to do? That is the reason why I started this video off with showing you who their mother was. They have an issue with being the only race that is the controlling dominant race. If you sit home and you do not vote and you do not take whatever I'm saying to you seriously, you will literally fuck around and find out that these people will put your ass back into something worse than slavery. Do you not understand me, Black women? You already see it coming with their over religious fanatical bullshit, where they believe that women are not supposed to have rights. The only thing women are supposed to do is fuck, have children, feed their families, and get their ass beat by the men that they're attached to, and not be able to defend their children against sexual attacks from the men of this country. And you know it to be true because I cannot tell you the amount of dudes, especially Black males, along with whites, because they the default to pedophiles, right? Who literally was in support of this country trying to pass a law to make 14-year-old girls grown women and able to be married throughout the country. If that is not pedophilia on a new level, you let me know what is. And the fact that you had all types of men supporting that is crazy. That should tell you right there that if you fuck around and sit down and you let all these men from all these races vote and decide in this country how you will be treated, you should know with beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're going to live a really horrible enslaved life. You should already know that. So please don't sit here and don't let no ridiculous woman or man tell you that your vote doesn't count in America. Your vote counts so much so. You've seen all of the Democrats from Texas get on a fucking plane and run from the state so they could stop a gerrymandering from going through. You saw that. If your vote did not count, people would not be going to court to fight to stop you from registering to vote. Currently, even though he doesn't have the authority to do it, but he's still trying it through the courts. This president is trying to stop ballot voting, absentee voting, and everything else. He doesn't want anybody who has a disability or any type of hardship to get to the polls to be able to vote, because he knows blacks and people of color outnumber white people in this country like 5-1. You can believe that bullshit about being 13% all you want, but that's not true. If you were 13%, they would never have counted you 3/5 a person, and you could go back and read the Constitution to find out why that was, because you overwhelmingly outnumbered them. Today, they count black people 1/5 to white people and Hispanics 1/3. That should show you that the shit they tell you about the population of this country is not correct. And I don't give a fuck if Pew Research is telling you otherwise, because those people are fucking white too. Okay? The math is the math. Anytime you need 5 motherfuckers to be counted as one in comparison to a white person, that should tell you right there it's more of those people than them. Anytime you need 3 people to be counted as one person for a white person, that should tell you that those people are also outnumbering those people as well. Stop believing the bullshit that America is pumping. Hold on a minute. Let me see what she said. Yeah, they are the same. But the what I want y'all to really understand is I need y'all to get, you have no saviors in this country. So you have to be like your foremothers before you, and you're going to have to get up off your ass and stand up for yourself. And I don't mean picketing and rioting in the street and talking shit. I mean, you have to tell your homegirls, your family, your friends, your associates, anybody you know that's black, because we are taking the hit and we are being targeted. You cannot sit on your ass. You cannot do that. They are coming for the poor black women as well as the rich and in between black women. And y'all see that. He has 2 years limit for Section 8, which is taking away black women's houses that they were able to get and take care of their children. That's affecting the low-income black women. The middle-income black women are being phased out because they're taking the jobs from us. The wealthy black women, they're trying to shut them down legally by saying they can't work and can't go to school. Do you see how they're coming for us? So when people are doing this, the way you fight back is not to sit around telling other black women that, you know, all hope is lost and that you can't do anything but give in and fall in love with some bullshit ass fantasy like that stupid fucking show y'all was watching. What is that shit called? What is that shit where they was walking around in them fucking red capes like that damn fairy tale? Y'all know what I'm talking about. That shit that's like the hold on. What is the name of that show? They had with it on Hulu, I think it is, with all them stupid women that was being controlled and manipulated by those white men. What is that thing called, y'all? It's not The Scarlet Letter, it was something else. The Handmaid's Tale. Now, I don't like how y'all didn't tell me, because y'all know exactly what I was talking about. And that's part of the shit I'm saying. You got to get out of that mindset of thinking and believing what is being shown to you through propaganda. You knew I was talking about The Handmaid's Tale. Y'all knew it, and not one of you said anything. But that type of shit right there is what you got to stop. And it's so easy to just understand that if you want to continue to live like you're living today, you want to be able to be free, you want to be able to vote, go to school, pull back all of the reins they have on education, and make sure those Black women that have been fired, because the people who strategize in this country, and I'm gonna show y'all something, even though I'm not gonna play the video all the way. I want to show y'all that this is not a joke when I'm telling y'all that they literally have people who sit down and watch the patterns of people, and they have strategists who sit there, project the future, and whose job it is to stop you from obtaining your goals. All of this because, like that Queen Matilda in the beginning, they feel like they're the only ones who are supposed to be in control of other people's destinies. You got to understand that. And in addition to understanding that, you got to know that you have just as much or more power than they do by simply not complying to the bullshit. That's it. When you don't give into it, they have no fucking power. Period. And the way you do that is by incorporating more people who believe the way you do. That we don't believe in white supremacy. We don't believe in everything white is right and everything Black is wrong, and that everybody should be anti-Black. We don't believe in that. So what we need to do is start looking high and low for the people that think the way we do, and make sure those are the people that get into public office. Those are the people that reach the highest levels of those companies, so that they bring in other people of all types of groups, so that all people are enfranchised. And I really mean that. Now, the only truth about certain studies Pew Research has done, or in Pew Institute, is when they do their studies on diversity, shows that the more diverse a company is, the better it performs, the more money it makes. Because you have it's common sense, right? If you only have one group of people who think the same way all the time, nobody has an independent thought, nobody thinks differently, you're going to get the same outcome each and every time, because they have no other frame of reference to go from to think differently or produce a different product. It's a dead end. All right, let me get through the slides so I can show y'all all this stuff. All right. So now back to explaining like how this is a mental condition that has not been diagnosed, and they probably won't diagnose it because it speaks to the true irrationality of racism. And those of you who are very familiar with Toni Morrison, James Baldwin, Francis West, what's her name? Francis West Kreslin, or y'all know who I'm talking about, the sociologist, right? All of these people and more have done in-depth studies, psychological think pieces, and sociological think pieces on how racism is literally a mental illness that America refuses to acknowledge or accept and put in the DSM. And the reason they refuse to do it is because once you get rid of acknowledging and accepting racism, you have full diversity, you have full inclusion, you have real fucking democracy. And that is what they're trying to stop from happening. Let's hear this lady. She's going to further expand on what I just said.
The post that we've seen does not depict social media. The post that we've seen does not depict the entire incident. That is one version of what occurred. At times, social media and mainstream media and their commentaries are a misrepresentation of the circumstances surrounding any given event. What that does, that causes us some difficulties in thoroughly investigating social media. The post that we've seen does not depict the.
Now, those of you that can read the caption, right? You know what happened in Cincinnati. Now, what she's doing is exactly what I was telling y'all. She's trying to make excuses for bad behavior or poor behavior on the police's part. And the media, who specifically in that clip only zoomed in on Black people who were literally fighting back against people attacking them. Not that they were the initiators. They were fighting back. But this is often what propaganda and media does. Because you see, she needs to get people to believe that Black people are violent. Black people are the problem in America. The reason you can't afford your rent, the reason you can't buy a home, the reason you can't be safe walking down the streets at night, the reason your governor said no to a certain bill that would benefit you is all because of Black people. That's not true. But this is why they do the things they do. And when we as people finally come to the realization and begin to look through this shit and understand what we're looking at, and decipher the shit, they can no longer suck us in with this bullshit. And it begins with us as Black people, because with us as Black people, like every other trend or the influence that we have, not only in this country, but all over the world, when we start to refute this shit in a very creative way, we will win. We will win. And you have to start. And the first way of starting to get rid of this and stop all this misinformation is in the way you start dealing with other Black women and how you deal with yourself. Okay? And I don't mean that like in a chastising way. I mean it like we have been living for so long under the conditioning of the propaganda of these people, the hatred of these people towards us, trying to make us feel bad about who we are, trying to make us feel like our skin is some type of human stain, but a stain nonetheless that they always try to obtain, right? We got to get to the point where we start understanding that if they're coming for our jobs, if they're coming from our livelihoods, the way for us to take care of our kids, to keep a roof over our head, to be able to feed ourselves, we only could do what our foremothers used to do. We have to rely on each other. And if that means in your particular town or even inside of your one small family, you begin a SUSU account or any type of pool where you save money for when you need it to do what you got to do, you need to start doing that. If it means that I made videos on Black farmers and where to locate them, since Black farmers are not being funded by the government currently, and they're trying to get them to fail, we as Black people need to come to the Black farmers' rescue. Even if it means every single one of us, the 50-something million of us in America, decide to go on every single farmer's online account or whatever they have and donate a fucking $1 or $1.50. You will be giving that farmer all the money they need to get their equipment up, keep their farm running, so that when we don't have food, when we go to the store and they try to shut the stores down and keep the trucks from bringing the food through, at least we know that if we got to put a whole bunch of people in the car and everybody pack the car so we could go to the farmers and get the food and bring it back to our people, we have the ability to do that. That's the way you got to start thinking now. The same way Black people used to have to do in the 20s, the 1900s, the end of the 1800s, when we was vagabonds, living literally in the street with pallets to sleep on and walking from state to state to find an opportunity. You have to get back to that mentality. You got to stop thinking about fucking relationships, playing with Black men who do not have your best interest in heart at all, because we as Black women have to survive this shit. They are trying to align themselves with white people and white men because they're men. You Black women gotta come to these understandings. Period. You gotta understand this. And the other thing Black women gotta come to the understanding of, when it comes down to you versus another person, where your life is at the end of that decision, you better choose you over them and do whatever the fuck you gotta do to win. Because I've been seeing too many videos, especially here where I live in New York, of Black women cowering and crying about being afraid of somebody getting ready to do something to them. Since when did Black women become so fucking pussy? Tell me when. When did Black women decide that we just gonna stand here and let a motherfucker beat us in the head or beat us down or just take our life because they want to? When did we become those women? I think y'all letting that femininity bullshit that these women on here have been hustling you for a fucking profit go to your head. You're born feminine. Feminine, if you look up the fucking definition, literally speaks to your ability to be born a female and reproduce. It has nothing to do with how cute you look, how prissy your dress is, or how many dudes are checking for you. That don't have shit to do with being feminine. So I need y'all to woman up. I really do. Because y'all know it's going to get cold out here. And as soon as it get cold, that's when the government knows whoever they're trying to target, go for with the gusto because it's cold outside. You got nowhere to run. The elements are going to get you. So you need to start, you should have been preparing for this. But now, since they are literally coming for us, all of us, you have to understand that Black women, you got to turn to other Black women and say, you already know. The only thing we can do is hold each other down. We got nobody else that's coming to help us, especially not Black males. You already know that from how they did not vote for Kamala, how they represented and advocated for Trump. They are against Black women's freedoms over their body, especially when it comes to abortions. You know this. And they have a big problem with you being smarter than them. So what is it that we're waiting for? Let me know. What are we waiting for? When you have all this type of shit all around you, trying to convince you and the whole world that the Black people are the Antichrist that everybody has to kill and get rid of. When all this shit comes down to, if these white people would just stop with the bullshit of thinking that they're supposed to be in control of everybody, it wouldn't be all this chaos going on. And you know what I'm saying to be true. So let's speed this up a little bit. All right. So I want to try to get this until the public execution. So I want y'all to get this, right? So 1 second. I'm going to drop and start reading some of this stuff because I want you to see how from that lady, that Queen Matilda, this whole white supremacy, white people being in control, everybody else being deemed to be subjugated and problematic, and the reasons why when things go wrong, these are the people to blame. It started with that woman Matilda, that Queen Matilda, but it kept going for all those years with little revolts in between until it got to the Reign of Terror, right? And in the Reign of Terror, the thing that I want to speak to that is very important for us to understand, which is what we're experiencing right now in America, is the reason why fear had to be introduced to the public, the way fear is used, and the outcome of fear when people let fear take over you, and then when people fight the fuck back. So everything that I'm saying to you, we're going to take a glimpse now back into history to see how the propaganda of fear and the whole development of white supremacy came to be, and how the things that was done in the 1700s to the early 1900s that solidified white supremacy is what the white people in America are trying to do right now today. And the way that you fight back against this type of shit is to know the history, so that when you see it being pumped to you through as propaganda on your television, your headphones, your magazines, your books, your whoever it is that you voted into office, when you see that shit in real time, you just keep your mouth shut and you check it. You say, okay, I see you. And when it is time to take action, meaning it is time for this person to run for office because their seat or their term is up, or if you're in the position to have that seat revoked from this person or whatever law they put into existence repealed, you go into action to get that outcome, and you don't let nothing stop you, period. You know how we always say move in silence? That has to be what we do from now on. And the other thing I'm going to tell y'all before we get into this French Revolution stuff, which is what we're going through today in America, is I want all of you Black women to start getting your women together and having your own personal Zoom calls, your own personal behind the scenes contact with each other to organize where you live to take care of each other. When the majority of us start losing our jobs and we cannot afford to pay our bills anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying to y'all? Because that is coming. Okay? When you just think about how they did us when they started the whole thing with COVID-19 and how they slowly phased out the jobs and slowly slowed down society and started to isolate everybody. Go back to that. Even if you have to review the videos, go back to that. Take the key points out of that and watch for it coming. When you see it coming, you know what the next step is. So you can prepare for it. So that when it eventually happens, you're already prepared and nothing they do will be able to affect you the way it did when they surprised us with that last time. See, because that's the best thing about history. When you know what was done before, you already know what's coming, how to avoid it and how to stop it from happening. And so we're going to go into this again. All right, so I just want to point out a few serious things to y'all about this to look for in today's society. Let me go back to this for 1 minute. So right now, you know, right, we're getting ready to go into elections for the cities, right? Municipalities. We're going to have a lot of mayor elections, what's left of the city council, stuff like that. County elections, that always comes up just before the midterms. So all of y'all that live in your particular cities, you need to get active. You need to make sure you still on the registration rolls. You need to make sure that everybody you know is registered and make sure you have that conversation with them about how important it is for them to show up this midterm, right? Okay. The reason you need to do that is because fear is going to be the tactic of propaganda they use from this October going forward. Because you see, elections go in cycles, right? So when they know the little baby cycle, like the mayors and shit like that, who are important, but not as important as the governor, the congressman, the senator, the president, shit like that, when it comes to election on a nationwide scale, right? Because people seem to think those people are more important than others. This is why I'm saying this right now, right? But as those start to roll out, the propaganda will begin, and they're going to use fear. And the reason they use fear is because they need to control you. But when you're not afraid, because you understand that ultimately you have the upper hand, there are more citizens of this country than there are senators, Congress, presidents, Supreme Court members, governors, and all that shit put together. So use the power of the fucking people. Use the power of the people. The power of the people is when you go into that fucking ballot booth and you say, I'm done with this white racist bullshit. You're out of here. That is the power of the people. When you organize small grassroots movements in your area to get people to be educated about how the election process works, that is the power of the people. When you get Black women to understand, sister, if you lose your job today or tomorrow, me and my mother or my sister and my cousin, we got you. And if I lose my shit, you better have me. That is how you have to do. That is the way we have done it since the history of us being in this country. Do not stop now. Fear is what they use on the public to control masses of people. The way they used to do it back before the French Revolution, and I'm using the French Revolution as a pivotal turning point in the history of mankind because it was the first monumental time, not the only time, but the first monumental time that the people rose up against the elite and said, fuck you. It's us. We don't give a shit about you. And what did they do to Marie Antoinette? Off with that bitch's head. The same way she had been offing many other people's heads before that. They didn't even have food in France, y'all. She told them eat fucking cake. If you have no money to make anything with, how the fuck are you going to eat cake? You understand what I'm saying? When I had told you guys about that film a little while ago about the black man prodigy in France who was part of the rebels who began the French Revolution. Remember I told y'all about Chevalier? If you watch that movie on Netflix, you will see there is a significant amount of information about him and his people organizing behind the scenes before they launched the revolution, which was at the end of that movie. But let me get to this to show y'all what I'm talking about the fear factor. So in France, right, the same way this dude Charlie Kirk, right, the one that went out the other day, was talking about public executions. The reason he spoke about public executions is because he knows the history and the influence of fear and control public executions put in the mind of people who become docile and lose the fight in them to win or to survive. So I'm just read it quickly, right? So in the overview, I asked the computer, I said, how were people executed in the French Revolution? So it says the most famous execution method during the French Revolution was the guillotine, used to symbolize swift, egalitarian justice for all classes of criminals. Now we know right there that the computer is lying to us, because most of the people that got guillotined were poor, dirt poor people who were trying to escape, running into the forest, trying to escape to different countries, crying out for justice, trying to revenge somebody that was killed in their family. So this is, and I'm gonna tell y'all something, be careful with AI, because AI has been on some bullshit lately where it has been reiterating wrong information and regurgitating racial hatred. Be wary of that. So, but anyway, before its widespread adoption, however, various gruesome methods were employed, such as hanging, drawing, and quartering, and even boiling alive for different offenses. Now, hanging, we know what that is. Quartering is when, drawing, is when they cut you and let you bleed out. Disembowelment, shit like that. Quartering is when they take all four of your extremities, an arm tied to a horse over here, an arm tied to a horse over there, a leg tied to a horse that way, a leg tied to a horse that way. They slap the horses' asses, the horses take off, and they rip all your arms and legs off your body. Okay? And then boiling alive. So during the reign of terror, alongside the guillotine, mass executions were also carried out through methods like shooting and drowning. Often now that's just a particular area of France, right? You don't need to know that. So we'll go back up. Now, the reason they did this is back to what I'm saying, Black women. They need to instill fear in you, because when you instill fear in people, people become paralyzed. They're afraid to move, afraid to do, because they don't want to deal with the consequence. You cannot let that shit happen to you. Then we go to, why was public execution outlawed in France? Now we're speaking to the fact that you have already terrorized people. You tried to paralyze them, tried to make it where they will not rebel against you. But life always works to where the people who are overruled will stop it, period. So here they said, why was public execution outlawed in France? Numerous spectators took pictures. This is the key, right, y'all? Took pictures of the execution. Although it was illegal to do so, why do you think they took pictures of the execution? Because it's easier to show somebody how horrific some shit is than to talk about it. Like the same way you're listening to me right now, some people may be listening with serious intent. Others may be like, oh, this bitch just talking. I don't give a fuck about what she talking about, right? This is why they took the pictures. So as numerous spectators took pictures of the execution, although it was illegal to do so. Perhaps because of this, the president of the French Republic, Albert Lebrun, banned public executions shortly thereafter because of the psychological impact of what they saw. It started to build up a fire in people to go, this shit is not right. Executions were carried out inside prisons from that moment until the abolition. What the hell is wrong with me? Abolition of the death penalty in 18. I'm sorry. Listen to this shit. Executions were carried out inside prisons from that moment until the abolition of the death penalty in 1981. From 1870, black women, to 1981. You talking 100 years plus, y'all. Y'all hear me? 1981, y'all. From 1793 to 1981. It's important, y'all. It's important. That shit is important. Black psychologists, right, who spoke about this the same way I'm telling you. They spoke about the fear factor. They spoke about how white supremacy and belief in white is right and black is bad was a problem. Nobody was listening. You see here, they say numerous black sociologists and scholars have examined the historical and social roots of white fear, arguing that it is not about demographic changes alone, but about the perceived threat to white people's long-standing racial status and dominance. Key perspectives and analysis on white fear for being today I can't read, blah, 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 blah. Key perspectives and analysis on white fear of being annihilated include W.E.B. Du Bois. Stop calling this nigga Du Bois. Du Bois. On the psychological impacts of racism. As one of the founders of American sociology, Du Bois wrote extensively on the emotional and psychological consequences of racism for both black and white people. Y'all all know the souls of black folks. Now, even though I don't suggest or champion that book because Du Bois was a fucking coon, I'm going to tell you straight out. He believed also that everything white was right and that black people needed to do everything they needed to do to assimilate. Fuck him. That's honestly how I feel about him. He positioned that the same system of racism that harmed black people also diminished white people's humanity through fear, doubt, distrust, and hatred. I agree with that. But all the rest of the shit he was talking about when he was fighting with Booker T. Washington about the talented 10th and black people's position in America was bullshit to me. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree. There was another black man, but he was black Hispanic. It's Eduardo Bonilla. I don't speak Spanish, y'all. Forgive me. Eduardo Bonilla Silva. His theory was and colorblind racism, right? So this man wrote a whole think piece on colorblind racism. So sociologist Eduardo Bonilla Silva argued that a new form of colorblind racism has replaced overt forms of racial animosity, yet still serves to maintain white privilege. From this perspective, white anxiety is not about the fear of annihilation, but about the erosion of racial advantage in a society that claims to be post-racial. Y'all hear that? This theory suggests that many white people deny the existence of systematic racism. Don't we see that every day on TikTok? While simultaneously opposing any policies that may lead to a more equitable redistribution of power and resources. That's basically what I've been talking about this whole live. Now he goes further. He says, the threat of demographic change. Now, you guys, I didn't look this up before, but there's this book called The Birth Dearth, right? Let me just see, y'all, 1 second, if I could find it on Google, okay? Because I would like to just show y'all what this looks like. Book, The Birth Did it come up? Dearth. There it is. Birth Dearth book. Let me see if I can get it out. Okay. Here it is. I want to show y'all this. Now this book is everywhere, but it costs a lot, right? This book speaks to white people's fear of being racially outnumbered, eventually getting to the point where, because they believe in such white purity so much, that they've gotten to the point where they don't understand that diversity is the key to longevity, right? The more diverse your DNA is, the more diverse your offspring are, the more they will live longer, because it's less limitation on who they are. When it has less limitations of who they are, the more mutations pop up. Mutations cause shelf life to be decreased, and they can become non-existent. They can be out of here. They know this, but because they have this overwhelming compulsion inside of them, because of who they are racially, to control, to dominate, to always want to have everything the way they want it, they disregard this fact and are literally on their way out as we speak. Now, it might not be in our lifetime, but it is happening because they refuse to deal with the fact that the diversity is the key to longevity. The fact that they have to now go up into the atmosphere and spray a covering over the earth to prevent the strong rays from the sun from penetrating to the ground we walk on so that they could go outside should be enough for them to understand that diversity is not your fucking enemy. But because the fact that they might lose control is what is making them as crazy as they are now, with the blatant racism, the lying about who killed the Kirk dude just because they want to have a problem with black people and other people, to keep this whole white people need to be right and white people need to be in control the main focus of what they live for. They're just denying everything that makes scientific sense, everything that makes common sense. They just don't give a fuck. It's we need to be right. We need to be the most important. We need to be in control. We don't give a fuck about nobody else. And everybody else that we fuck over should agree with us. That is really what the problem is. And it's crazy that I see people, black people on here going along with this shit. The amount of black people that I have literally seen this week on TikTok making fucking excuses about why people should not dog out this Kirk dude for being the piece of trash that he was when he was alive is incredible. I'm serious. The amount of people I've seen on here talking about religion and why you shouldn't talk ill of the dead. Are you out of your mind? Where if that dude ever got the chance to fulfill a lot of the things he was calling for, black people would literally be hanging from trees like in Billie Holiday's song Strange Fruit. We would literally be quartered again, drawing, hung, and everything else, and burnt alive the way they used to do from the 1790s all the way up to the 1930s. Black women, we need to survive this shit, okay? And we don't survive it having conversations about relationships and men, babies getting married and wanting to be controlled by men. That is not how you survive this. That is not how you survive this. Not at all. It's not going to work. Okay? And I don't know what's going on, but I've seen a huge resurgence of a whole bunch of black women all of a sudden now trying to shame, blame, and downplay black women who want to be on their 4B journey, want to be self-centered, do not want to be somebody's mama, do not want to be somebody's wife, and don't want to get their ass beat by domestic violence or end up on the black femicide list, or have their daughter, their teenage daughter, raped and violated and murdered in their home. I don't know what is going on. I think a lot of these people are literally being paid, like Candace Owens, to come on here and misdirect and redirect black people into fucking sleeping. They trying to rock you to sleep. And if you don't pay attention, you will go to sleep and they will off you. Like, it's really that simple. It's really that damn simple. So black women, we all know that Project 25 had an impact on black women with our reproductive health, our reproductive rights, our reproductive freedom. We don't have to go into that. But what I do want to read to you is the leading cause of death for black women, because I want to reiterate to y'all the things that really fuck with us. Heart disease and cancer. And we're going to throw in the fact that the maternity rates of us dying when we go in to have a baby is incredible. They tend to leave that out, or did they put that in here? Black women have also experienced disparities in certain health outcomes, such as higher risk of dying from breast cancer and pregnancy-related complications like preeclampsia and hemorrhage. Yeah, but why do they die from that? Because of racism. Because you have to be tested for preeclampsia. You have physical signs of it on your body, and it shows up in your blood way before you die from it. Same thing with hemorrhaging. You usually start off bleeding a little bit. Spotty becomes blotty, and then blotty becomes, oh, this shit won't stop. So the fact that they're saying it so casually, as if, yeah, this happens and it's so unavoidable, so untreatable, is the propaganda bullshit that I'm talking about. It's not that simple. It literally goes in stages where it could have been stopped, repaired, and knocked out before the death. So we must pay attention to that. They just going on to the impacts of Project 2025 and how they're taking us out medically because of racism. They're taking our jobs. We know that, right? And how they're doing that. But now, I want black women to know that there is a National Association of Black Women. I want to read this to you, and I think everybody should look this up today and see if there's a chapter near you or somewhere to write, email, and find out, what do we do? Who helps us? How do we help ourselves? There are no such things as stupid questions when you're trying to survive an administration that is targeting you. There's a single, listen to this now. The first sentence should blow you away. There's a single National Association of Black Women. Rather, several prominent organizations bear similar names, including the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, focused on policy, advocacy for Black women and girls in health, education, and economics, and the Historical National Association of Colored Women. That was the women's sector of the NAACP, y'all. Dedicated to social justice and uplift since 1896. Other such groups include the National Congress of Black Women. That's where your girl Jasmine comes from. And the National Association of Black Women in Construction. They just threw that in there to let y'all know it's more than just that right there. So when we're talking about how we need to survive this, these are some of the things you can think back or go over this video again and expand further on your knowledge, your contact, finding out how they can help you. Do that individually, okay? Because I don't know how everything is going to affect every Black woman that might come across this video or hear my voice. But I need you to know that never Black women is all help lost as long as there is another Black woman breathing. Do you understand me? I need y'all to be clear with that shit, okay? I came across this article earlier, but I wanted to read it to y'all this way. This is from the Houston Defender. And it says, and this was September 5th, not too long ago, Black women and the pivot, rewriting the rules of success. Let's go into this for a minute, right? All right. I want to make sure y'all can see it. Yeah, you can see it. All right, let me go back, get rid of this. All All right. So this here I found very interesting because of the 350,000 black women that they keep misphrasing it. They keep saying let go from the workforce. They were fucking fired. They were pushed out against their will. Some of them got severance packages, some did not. Some of them I actually belong to, subscribe to them on TikTok because they have decided to become entrepreneurs. They have like niche businesses where whatever they were doing in their federal positions, where they have this specific skill, they are now doing the best thing black women do, which is fucking bound and be resilient. They have these little entrepreneur businesses where they have specialized niches where they do consulting, advising, etc., etc., etc. You know, black women are the most creative, innovative women on the face of this earth. So let's get into the article. So it says black women across generations are navigating career shifts, health challenges, and financial barriers, redefining what it means to pivot in today's world. When more than 350,000 black women were let go from the workforce in the first 90 days of 2015. Oh, the staggering number sent shockwaves through communities already battling systemic inequalities. Remember I told y'all about fear and why I used those little clips and things put in there from the French Revolution? Is because they need to impact fear and instill fear in you so that you feel paralyzed not to take any action against them to stop what they're doing or change what they're doing. But black women are not built like that. We built differently. And people in this country who are like the man that took that man out and who literally was getting beat down at that rally the other day with white man fight back. There are always going to be people in America who fight the good fight and who are not about the bullshit where everybody's being taken over by tyrants and fanatical fucking Republicans who feel like they know best for everybody else in the world. There's always going to be people who are going to push back against that shit and who are going to win. Because what happens in America, y'all, is that people don't take shit seriously until it fucking affects them. When it affects them, and black women, believe me, hear my words, you're going to see it come true. When it starts affecting the white people and the white people get tired of it, you will literally see white people start fucking up other white people for the things that are going wrong in this country. And it started already the other day at that rally, but it will get worse. And just think about the history of America. That has always been the case. That is exactly what the Civil War was. Even though we fought our own and held our own weight during that war, that is exactly the shit I'm talking about. That is the huge history of America. Every time one group of white people feel like they're going to take over, we're going to run some shit, another group of white people go, nah, man, that's really not cool. That's not fair. And I'm not going to just let you do any fucking thing you feel like doing. And then those people and the rest of the people, they come together and it's a whole bunch of shit until the smoke clears. For black women who according to the 2024 data from Pew Research, I really can't stand this Pew Research shit, continue to lead academically at colleges and universities across the U.S., the layoffs underscored a painful truth in corporate America. Their labor is valued until it isn't. Now, let me explain something to y'all. I want to make myself clear. The reason I have a problem with Pew Research is because it's white people reiterating black people's stories back to us that we lived. Any motherfucker could take a pen and a paper, ask 100 people the same question, and then tally up the answers and get a medium. The problem I have with these people is that they are giving you secondhand information that you already know as a black person to be true. And you don't need no fucking group of people to tell you what you already know to be true. You can read it if you want to, but what I'm trying to tell you is stop making that shit an authority of black people's lives and our existence. Because we don't never need no white person telling us who the fuck we are. We know who we are. Even in this article alone, for Black women who, according to 2024 data from Pew Research, continue to lead academically at colleges and universities across the U.S., the layoffs underscored a painful truth in corporate America. Their labor is valued until it isn't. Did we really need them motherfuckers to tell us that? Or did we not literally, some of us live that shit through a lived experience? Do we not know that Black people are the first hired? Wait, how's it go? How does that shit go? Last hired, first fired. We know that. And we also know that it's not just corporate America. It's when black women work for the federal government, when Black women work for the state, when Black women work for the city, when Black women have contracts with the government. We know it's anything where we are not the people in control. We always take the hardest hit, and it is because of the legacy of slavery in this country and the fact that white people suffer seriously from this need to be the group that is controlling everything. We already spoke about that, and that is called white supremacy. So we know these things. We don't need a group of white people to tell us what we already know. And we damn sure don't need them to validate our fucking lived experience. But if you want to use it, use it. But that's my take on them, because I ain't listening to somebody tell me what the fuck I know to be true. I'm sorry. I just can't do that shit. Now, if you're talking about something else, okay. But I think I know pretty much all the shit Black women are exposed to in this country because I am a Black woman. And nobody could tell me, besides another Black woman, what she has gone through that I may have not experienced. I'm sorry. That's just how I get down. So back to the article. The crisis is not limited to jobs, Black women. Black women remain 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than white women, with a maternal mortality rate of 50.3 deaths. Now, it done went up, y'all, per 100,000 live births compared to 14.5 for white women. Economically, barriers are just as steep. In 2024, startups led by Black women received just 0.4% of venture capital funding, the lowest share in recent history. Now let's take a detour for a minute, right? Now we know that during that time last year, the biggest thing happening was Fearless Fund being targeted by that white racist dude who ended up, with the help of the Asians, fucking up affirmative action and everything to get into colleges where Black people are underrepresented and underserved because they felt like they deserved it more than we did. Now nobody can fucking do it, right? They came after Fearless Fund. Fearless Fund had to, take a little blow, but they're back. So now, Black women, if you got a business and you need the Fearless Fund, the Black women are back. The only recommendation, and I put it in the video, I don't know where I put that video, but I do have it somewhere. They have a loan, a business loan you could qualify for and apply for. It takes 2 weeks. 2 weeks to get it. The only thing is you have to have been in business already for a full year. End of story. So if you need them, reach out to them. Matter of fact, let me go see if I can find them just to add them in this video. Give me a minute. I found them. Hold on. All right, here they go. Hold on. I hear our girls again. They're back in action. So here are our girls. These are the services they're offering you. A team, venture, loans, microfinance, grants, and partnerships. Let's see what the loans look like. Hold on. Here we go. Fearless Fund is back. Is now facilitating access to small business loans. They tell you the why. They tell you the qualifications. They tell you the offer. They're offering loans from $5,000 to $250,000. Flexible interest rates starting at 8.49. Transparent and flexible terms from 1 to 5 years. No repayment penalties. Working capital loans can be used for purchasing equipment, inventory, hiring staff, advertising, and much more to grow your business. Resources and support in English and Spanish. You apply, they're giving you a 2-week, yes, you can, or no, sorry, you got to try again. Okay? This is what we got to do for each other. Okay? Those black women have been here for us forever. You do a quick Google search, feel it's fun, and others like it, you'll get a bunch more. Okay? Black women, we just have to look out for each other. That's it. We got to put the colorism to the side, the ageism to the side, the judgment to the side, the worrying about niggas to the side, telling people what to do with their kids and how they living in their home to the side, and just be on some real shit from the 1970s. Can I borrow some sugar, Vanessa? Yeah, Steph, I got some. If you need anything, just let me know. That's the shit you got to get back to. You understand? If her babies need something, your kid's too small for, pass that shit on. Don't even give it to the people, the little free places you could get a little dollar back from it. Pass it on. Help your sister. Be your sister's keeper. All right? It's as simple as that. That's the way we used to do it. We need to go back to doing that. That's all I got for this video. I'm spent. And I'm telling y'all right now, I'm very emotional because so many times, y'all, let me get out of this. So many times, right? I'm on social media, I'm reading shit, I'm watching stuff, I'm commenting, I'm stitching shit. All I keep seeing is black women talking about the most superficial, unimportant shit. Like just today before I did this live, right? I don't know if y'all know this lady. I like her videos. She's called the Wireless Woman on TikTok. Excuse me. I think she's before her time with black women on TikTok because a lot of them black women over there really like fickle-minded. I'm gonna try to be as polite as possible. Like they're not really concerned with real life shit that is important. They still living in a la-la land because all they talk about all day over there is relationships, marriage, men want women to be submissive and want to lead you, control you, dominate you. Black women got other things to fucking think about. They really do. However, this one lady, Wireless, she actually is, she refers to herself as a Marxist, right? Now, if you don't know what a Marxist is, just look it up. It's a man that lived in Europe that felt a certain way about conditions people live in and how the masses of people should go about getting certain things to work for them wherever they live so they could be okay. In a nutshell. All right. The way she approaches all of her lives is like coming from that frame of mind. But she pulls in like a lot of the social and current events of the day. And since she has I think she studies sociology or has a degree in sociology, she refers to a lot of, to my distaste, a lot of European fucking sociologists. But I would love for her to incorporate black women sociologists because even when you study this stuff in school, they tend to always leave out the black people, right? And the reason I know this is because I actually subscribe to quite a few black women doctor sociologists on TikTok just to like to keep up with this new like frame of mind and this way of thinking and approaching my life these days. This is my own personal hippie journey. You don't have to go with me. But what they're teaching me and what I found with Wireless is that when you approach a problem from a different angle, you get way more fucking resolutions to it than the same old shit where, you know, sometimes black women come from this and it's not us, you know, doing it because we're broken, fucked up people, but it's because it's been beaten into us and socialized into us, right? Where too often we come from the negative point of view because this is what we've been accustomed to doing, right? So when you start to peel that shit off, right? And you start looking at it in a different way. You look at where the source of the problem, who it is affecting, who it's targeting, what's the consequence of the problem, and how do we destroy the problem? you begin to see a bigger fucking light at the end of the tunnel where you go, wow, this shit was never as tough or as big and as horrible as I thought it was from the beginning. It's small time. Look at that. So that's the kind of journey I've been going through. So that's why you don't really see me on here losing my fucking mind the way I used to. It's a process, y'all. I'm still crazy. But I wanted to share that with y'all because a lot of times I think we as Black women, right? The way that we allow everybody to like drag us through the mud is harmful to us in so many ways. I literally saw a Black woman screaming at the top of her lungs the other day on TikTok, like, just leave Black women alone. I'm tired of y'all fucking with us. Leave us alone. When you see stuff like that, you know that it's like really, really bad to the point where, you know, people are being psychologically affected. That's when you know, Black women, it's time to back away from the bullshit. Like, literally. I know there are a lot of Black women on here that unfortunately have made this shit their bread and butter, which they should not have, right? Because this shit is not going to last. But we need to start backing away from this. And if we are going to really have real conversations where it's supposed to be private and intimate, where it's Black women sharing resources with other Black women, helping other Black women in a trusted, safe space for Black women, we're going to have to come off the public internet. We're going to have to set up Zoom calls where it's just us and just us alone, so that nobody could do a video like, oh, look at these Black bitches. Look what they doing. They trying to do this. They're being discriminatory. Da, 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 da. You don't want them to have the opportunity to do that. You don't. And I know sometimes when you have a habit of coming on here and listening to the bullshit, because that's literally what a lot of this shit is bullshit, right? A lot of it is entertaining because I get caught up in the bullshit too. Sometimes I'll be on here laughing my ass off at the silliest shit. But I'm not that daft enough to think that what these people are talking about when it comes to relationships, marriages, Black men ruling Black women, and pretending that they need to be in the household with you so they can fuck you up and your children is a priority. I don't get stuck in that. I know that that's bullshit because I've lived it. I've went through 2 ex-husbands and with significant others where I know that as a Black woman, I'm always going to have some Black male trying to overpower me and control me because he's mentally conquered. He believes that he needs to be like the white man. I'm going to be in control of the Black woman and the Black children and run my household. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to tell everybody what to do, and I'm going to rule with iron fist just like I see that white man doing it. Most Black women know that, and we don't want no fucking parts of that shit, which is why we stay away from them when it comes to them being in our houses the way they want to be, fucking up our children, traumatizing us and traumatizing our kids. So when you know all this, right, and you watching this silly shit, when it's time to get serious about the shit we need to get serious about, like making sure we got our money on lock, where we live good, so we're not getting evicted, or God knows what the fuck could happen. We're paying attention to making sure that we're secure in life, and that if we need to help a sister, we're there to do it. And if they need to help us, they're there for us. That is the most important shit we should be spending our brain time on. Especially when we know we got a whole fucking country targeting us because they know in the Black community, the only people in the Black community, the only adults in the Black community that are actually working, educated, taking care of children, and worrying about the future of Black people are Black women. So if you want to destroy a race of people, you take out the strongest character or the strongest thing in that community. And since we know we got a target on our back, you got to move in silence, and you got to move the way you're supposed to make sure they don't fucking get you. End of story. And I'm done with the live. But I need you Black women to understand that. Because when I get up in the morning, I flip through whatever it is, the news, because the first thing I hit is the news. Yahoo News for the true financial reports of America and the world. Y'all look into that. It's Yahoo Finances, okay? I look through Yahoo because you know I invest, so I look at my investments. I be taking a hell of a hit these days, but okay, right? I look through that. Then I go through the news. I go through USA Today. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I go through some of the local news. Go through New York One. Then I go to England. I go to BBC. What's going on, BBC? What's going on? Then I go to the Arabic people. I go to Al Jazeera. What's going on, Al Jazeera? This is what I do. And out of all those different news outlets, I always see black women getting fucked up. Always. It has not been a day yet I've woken up and not seen a killing of a black woman somewhere in this world. Something happened devastating to where they live. Job loss. And people trying to like tear down our self-esteem. I'm dead serious, y'all. I was actually thinking about making a fucking chronicle of it for a whole year to show how every day I wake up, there's something horrific happening to a black woman somewhere in the world, but nobody gives a fuck about it. And black women are too busy worrying about relationships and being with black males than to see my sister is hurting. I have a bigger responsibility to take care of myself and my sister so that we're okay in the world than to be worrying about some dude jumping up and down on me for a few minutes. That shit really fucks with me every day, y'all. It really does. But I care about what happens to black women because I'm one of them. And I really need us to start locking in to caring about us first and then other black women as well. Now, you know how I am. Black American women, y'all supposed to be locked in on each other. Caribbean women, y'all better get locked in on each other. I'm not even fucking with African women. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I'll tell you why. After the whole thing on TikTok where, thank you for saying that, Autumn, with the whole thing with them coming at black women and disrespecting us, talking shit about us, taking away all of our black music awards to replace that shit with African and Caribbean just to spite us because of what we did with Essence Festival. That shit is dead, y'all. None of y'all better not ever subscribe to Essence, buy any of their fucking hair products, or ever go to that bullshit ass festival again. Louisiana is already thinking of replacing that shit with something else. Hold tight, okay? If you want to know what's going on, always go to Louisiana.gov or Louisiana State and go through the fucking state website to see all the shit that's going on. Put your money into Louisiana. Fuck that company, okay? And if, like I did in the other video, if you want to start your own something in Louisiana or anywhere else in another state, contact the people who are in charge of that committee and get it popping. It's that simple. We don't need no foreign people to do shit for us to try to disrespect us. We have always been doing it for ourselves and we will continue. All right. I forgot my train of thought, but this is the point. I don't fuck with them because of that bill they got passed behind our backs and the fact that we were sleeping on it and we still not thinking about how we as black women need to protect ourselves and ourselves alone. We still keep thinking about everybody else, and when the shit hits the fan, everybody gonna leave us, throw us under the bus, and we're not prepared. So we need to get prepared and stop fucking around. That was the whole point of this video, live or whatever. Black women, get your shit together. Get your money saved. Put that shit under your mattress. It's not safe in the bank. They're trying to get rid of the American dollar and go to this crypto shit that all of us missed out on. When it first came out, we should have bought mad amounts of it and been millionaires by now. But that time has passed. The banks are not going to be stable. Don't get caught. They did this already the first time around with the Great Depression. Read up on it. Look for the signs of it. Avoid the calamity. Okay? Get generators in your fucking house. Get them in your apartment. Okay? Stock up on water. Or get the purifier machine in case you got to pull water out the sky when it rains. Or the dew in the morning when you wake up. Or dirty water. It don't matter. As long as you can purify that shit, use it. Stock up on your canned goods in your cubby, whatever, so that when you got nothing else to eat, you got that. Get a manual can opener. Get a freezer. Pack that shit with food. Try to make that food last to the end of time if you can. So that whatever is coming in this crazy racist man's administration, you will be able to weather the fucking storm. Remember how shit was during COVID, because I got a strong feeling, Black women, we're going to be back in those times real soon again. All right? Be careful. Keep these crazy niggas out your house. I'm going to say that every time I talk to you. They have a real hatred for Black women. We really see that now. But now they on this, they're trying to do damage control to all the bashing and tearing down of Black women they've been doing for years. Y'all saw that recently with the little leprechaun over in England. Hold on, let me see. I can't see nothing without my glasses. Hold on, I'm coming. You welcome, voiced. Be careful. All right? They playing games. They trying to like hoodwink you. They trying to make you think they on your side when they not. It's about to be wintertime. Y'all know how this shit goes. Cuffing season. They need to get into Black women's houses to get off them streets. They need to get into Black women's houses because a lot of those adult men are attracted to children. And the Black woman that is mostly targeted is the single Black mom with a whole bunch of kids in her house. They do not like you. They like everything you have to offer them. That means free sex, free labor, the children you birthed, and control over your resources and your household. They tell you that themselves every day on every live that they go on. They talk about how they want to lead Black women, want to beat you into submission, and want to take over your household. They literally tell you this every day. So stop fucking around and do like Maya Angelou told you. Believe a motherfucker the first time, okay? And get prepared for what these white people got planned for us in the wintertime, because you know they do everything in the fucking wintertime because you are the most vulnerable. Do y'all hear me? A lot of us gonna lose our jobs this winter. Get prepared. A lot of us are not gonna have babysitters this winter. Get prepared. A lot of us are not gonna have nowhere to live this winter. Get prepared. Stop waiting to the last minute. If you live somewhere and you got nowhere to stay, nobody to go to, find the extended stay hotels in advance. Find the Airbnbs you can afford in advance. Find out if you can't do any of those, any of the resources in your community that you could take advantage of. If you can't do that, get a different car, a bigger van, even an old fucking van, a $3,000, $5 van. Take out a small loan, whatever you got to do, borrow, whatever. Buy the van. Insulate the van with carpet. It don't got to be fancy. Go to Amazon. Get the portable bunk beds that fit in back of the van. If you got to live in the van, make that shit comfortable where you and your children can fully stretch out and get a good night's sleep. Go to Amazon, get a portable fucking toilet, a portable shower, a portable stove, a portable refrigerator. Stack that shit on top of your van in a waterproof, weatherproof bag. Leave the state you're in. If you have nothing there for you, come to a blue, safe haven, safe harbor state like mine. Get into the system get your own fucking apartment, work for the city, work for the state, reestablish your life. If a fucking immigrant can come here and do it, you can do it too. And I don't mean no disrespect for that. I'm telling you the straight up truth. I'm looking out for black women. That is my job. And where I live, I know if you ain't got nothing else going on for you anywhere else, you could definitely come here. Let me know under any video. I need help finding a job. I will give you every resource I know. And I know New York City well. You hear me? Matter of fact, I might do a video just for that alone. But do not sit nowhere and suffer. Do not sit nowhere and suffer, black women, because you do not have to at any time. Black women, black men, so please stop dealing with them. Exactly. Let me put that up. I mean that. Do not suffer anywhere. Just to let y'all women know who are suffering in silence through domestic violence, there's a number on here that scrolls at the bottom of this damn live. You need help, call. Let me go get the other one where they can send you a credit card to get the fuck out of Dodge if you need to. It's called Finability. Let me find it for you. Don't stay nowhere where you're getting hurt. Finability. No, Fin. There we go. Finability. Hold on, let me put this up for y'all. Hold on 1 minute. Let me get rid of some of this other stuff. All right. There you go. All right, let me show y'all Finability. I always tell y'all about Finability. It's a company created by two women that used to get beat down all the time. They came together. The men were financially, look, they give you a disclaimer, the same number that is on the bottom of my screen, National Domestic Violence Hotline. All right, let's get rid of it. Okay. This is Finability, y'all. I tell you about this website all the time. If you are in danger or you're getting beat, don't have no shame on yourself or in your life or what's happening to you. Get up and do something about it. Reach out to Finability. Go to this website. It's finabilityus.org. Let me write that down so I can put it in the chat big on the screen. Hold on. Give me a minute, y'all. Finabilityus.org. All right, let me write it in the chat. Let me just show y'all something. When you're going through this website is set up so that if anybody sneaks up behind you and you close it out, they will not be able to go through your search history to see what you were looking at. They think about everything to protect you. They got programs here to help you. It's a financial toolkit, a live workshop, financial mentoring, webinars and events, blogs, podcasts and content. Peer support groups are coming this fall 2025. Additional resources about abuse, crisis support, frequently asked questions. Help me. Here's our approach. Defining survivorship, empowerment focusing, trauma informed by design. You are not alone. Do you see this? You can survive, and you better. You got kids to live for. You want to stay connected? Put your information in, your email, subscribe. You need them? Get on the internet, hit the website, apply for the credit card, get to talk to somebody on here to help you out. Call the national hotline. Get the fuck out of there. Here, frequently asked question. How can I afford to leave? Financial toolkit area. Leaving your harm doer. Separating from your harm doer can feel terrifying. When you're ready, Fuck that shit now. However, know that is possible. Many have done it. You better do it. And you're not alone. Learn how to financially prepare to become independent and how to do it safely. This man right here, I don't know what his story is. For me, the biggest thing was my kids. It pushed me to do that leave. I didn't want them to grow up like that. There you go. That's everybody's story. Black women, where there's a will, there's a way. Don't let nobody tell you it can't be done. Do not ever get comfortable sleeping in a bed, living in a house where somebody's coming and putting their foot in your ass just so you live there. Don't let nobody scare you to the point where you're paralyzed, whether it's some dude that's in your house or the government you live under. Do not let them break your spirit. Do not let them do it. All right, y'all, I'm spent. I'm going to finish the rest of my Sunday. I got some more laundry to do. Black women, get on your job. Get focused. Get prepared. It is definitely coming. We already ran through these people trying to blame us for shit we didn't have to do. They are looking for a problem with us. They are looking to stoke the fires of propaganda to get all of the country on their side against us. Do not forget that. Do not forget that. Stay vigilant every day. Keep your fucking head on the swivel out here on these streets for everybody, including black males. Carry your weapons on you and stay prepared. And do not be afraid that even if you could only carry a fucking hammer in your bag to protect yourself, do it. Do not let anybody do nothing to you and feel like they just going to be able to do some shit. Do not do that. Be well, be good. See y'all next time. Anything you need me to want to consider, I'm doing things differently. Put that shit below the videos and I'll do the best I can, okay? All right, y'all. See y'all next time. Black women, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. The one good thing I'm going to say before I leave that I see becoming a new trend, and I love it and appreciate it. I saw a young black woman the other day on TikTok start coming out and singing her mother's praises and talking about how good it feels to be a black daughter who's loved by their black mother. We need more of that in our community. Black women, love on your daughters. Daughters, love your mothers. When black women and daughters have a strong bond, predators cannot get a hold of your daughters. Your daughters do not live the lives you are trying to escape. Black women and their children become stronger to the point where the day will come where we will not any longer have any dysfunctional men in our communities. That is the goal we as black women should be collectively working towards together. Okay? Have a very good night and a very more blessed, better week. Think of me because I'm going to be thinking of y'all, okay? All right. Be good, black women. Have a very good night. Peace out. Autumn, peace out. Everybody else, have a good night. Good night, black women. Good night.